What we've discovered in this series is that all of my stress, all of your stress, all of that feeling in your gut of somehow you're going under, it really comes down to one issue. And this has been fascinating for me to kind of look at over the last several weeks and kind of discover what God is saying over and over. And bottom line, what he's saying is, do I trust God? Are we willing to trust God with our lives, with the finest, minutest details of our lives? Do I trust God enough that he's going to follow through on his plan so that if I follow his plans, if I do what he says to do in my life, that he's actually going to come through? So today we're talking specifically about the area of finances, and here's what I know. There's probably nothing that robs us more of peace in our lives. There's probably nothing that takes away more joy in our lives, nothing that causes more stress in our lives than finances. God isn't so concerned about what we will do someday. And we spend a lot of our time thinking about what we'll do someday, even when it comes to God. Someday, God, when I get through school. Someday, God, when I get the right job. Someday, God, when my kids are grown. Someday, when we bought and paid for the house. Someday, when retirement is taken care of. Then, God, I'll get all of this figured out. And God isn't really interested in someday. He's interested in today, right now. And so if God is going to work in your life, if God's going to do something with your finances, he's going to start with where we are right now. We find ourselves all the time saying, what if? And I mean, it holds us back more than any other thing from following God. What if, God? What if I trust you and things don't work out? What if I trust you and my kids get sick? What if I trust you and the car breaks down? What if I trust you and the time management doesn't work out the way I'd planned? What if I trust you and I lose my job? God, what if? What if? And so because of the what ifs, we hold back on actually trusting God and following through what he asks us to do. And it's that uncertainty of what if. So here's what God says about living a life that's free of financial stress. And you're going to hear me say the word, and you're going to go, David, that's not right. But the word that God uses to deal with our financial stress is the word he calls tithing. And the idea of tithing is really simply saying, just give back to God what's already his. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what tithing actually is. And so let me explain what tithing is not. Tithing's not really about money. We think that tithing's about money. It's not. It's all about the issue of, do I actually trust God? Am I willing to trust God with my money? And this is so basic, and it's where it all begins, but it's also where it so quickly ends for a lot of us. We're going, I'm not going to fall for that one, David. I'm not going to do that. And we talk a good game when it comes to following God, and we sing the songs when it comes to talking about following God. But when it comes to our finances, and when it comes to the most basic of all things, we go, not sure I'm going to trust you on this one, God, and at least not enough to follow your plan for my finances. Tithing is not about money. Tithing isn't about giving. And sometimes we think, it's just giving to God, but it's not about giving. Giving is like, it's like when you go to the restaurant and you've got a waiter or waitress, they do a good job, and you give them a tip. You just got to say, hey, good job, and you pat them and say, hey, thank you, good job, appreciate what you've done. Tithing is not giving. Tithing is actually returning to God what already belongs to God. It's his, and it's just giving back to his. And even more specifically, it's actually taking 10%. God, he says, he says, give me 1/10 of what I've given to you so that I can actually bless the rest. And that's it. God says, if you work that plan, he says, the stress that you experience, your finances will actually go away. See, bottom line, God says, everything that you have, I've given to you. Everything that you have is actually mine. I've given to you to use. And too often we make the mistake and we think it's all ours. And we think we've earned it and we've got it. And look how smart we are, what we have in our hands. And we hold on to it tightly because it's mine. And God is saying, it's not yours. I'm just letting you use it. If you were to die today, tomorrow somebody else would have your things and they would be using your things. It's just yours for a little while. I've given it to you. And so God says, if you want your finances to be in order, if you want to get rid of the stress that you're experiencing, he said, I want you to give me 1/10 of everything that I've given to you, return it back to me. He said, I will bless the rest of what you have. And God says, if you will bring this to me, this is all I'm asking. Demonstrate to me that you're trusting me by bringing me 1/10, and then all of the rest, you keep it. He says, I will take what you have left, and I will do more with this than if you had all of it, to the point where you can't even believe it. I will open heaven's gates and just amaze you with what I will do with that. He goes on. And he actually says something that he's never said before, and he never says again And he says this, try it. Put me to the test. Try it. It's almost like saying, I dare you. Come on, I dare you. Try it. If you've been a follower of Jesus very long, you know all about this. This is nothing new to you. But I also know if you've been a follower of Jesus for very long, you've come up with lots and lots of excuses as to why to not do this. You figured out lots of reasons. Some of them you may think are biblical, some theological, some practical. You've come up with lots and lots of reasons to just kind of blow this off and ignore this. And, that's your choice. This is between you and God. This is for your benefit, not mine. And God says, look, you do this, and I will bless you in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. And don't think when he says he's going to bless us that it means we're all going to be wealthy, we're all going to be rich. He doesn't promise that. He may bless us in other ways, where your relationships are richer than they've ever been, where your marriage, there's more intimacy and connection than you've ever experienced, where your kids are healthy. God will do it in some way. He will bless you in some way. But he says, look, just trust me, and I will take care of you. Some of you, you're going to talk to your accountant, a financial planner, and they're going to say, hey, this doesn't make any sense. It's not a rational thing to do. And you're right, it's not rational. God is not necessarily rational. God is very radical, and he's saying, I want to do something radical in your life, and I want you to do something radical, and I want you to show me that you trust me. Demonstrate it. Show me, and I will take care of you in ways that you could not ever possibly imagine. So here's the deal. Today, choose to put God to the test. Give it a try. You can go online, sign up for the 90-day challenge. You don't even have to do that. You just begin to tell God, okay, today I'm going to choose to demonstrate that I'm trusting you with my finances. And then begin to ask God to meet you here in this moment. Say, God, from now on, this is the way I'm going to live my life. I'm going to begin doing this, God, but if I start doing this, you're going to have to come through on this end. And so you ask God to meet you here in this moment, right now, today. Just say, here I am, God, I'm going to trust you on this one. Seems like a crazy thing to do, but I'm going to trust you, and then you just watch and see how God responds. That's what the lady in the story did. And just watch and see if God doesn't come through for you.